Hey guys, welcome back to Ranger Survival in Fieldcraft. I'm Andrew. I want to have for you this beautiful morning, besides a nice cup of coffee, is just a talk over the methodology of a minimalist survival trapping, hunting, fishing kit. We can carry very minimal items into the field, and if we have the requisite knowledge, the resources available, and then the know-how or the skills, we can pull a lot of things off the landscape, making very simple items with minimal kit to bring with us. And I would argue, as long as we have a survival knife and some cordage, we can actually recreate a lot off the landscape to go after animals, whether it's passive trapping, hunting, or fishing. We can do a lot of different things. And so the idea with this kit is that we carry in the minimal items necessary, and there's a lot in this kit that we could actually get away with tossing out. Like I said, cordage and a knife and the skills and resources, we can do a lot. But let's take a look at this kit. Now, the very first thing is a Swiss Army knife. That Swiss Army knife has multiple blades on it. It's got that saw, which is probably the most important tool for harvesting material efficiently, as well as notch carving. But then it also has that reamer or that awl, and we could use this to drill. So it gives us a very multifunctional tool. I actually carried a Swiss Army knife, the recruit model, the very basic model in Ranger School, and that's the one I had, tethered with a piece of cordage to my belt so I wouldn't lose it. That thing has exited aircraft. It's gone up and down mountains, through swamps. It's been in boats, helicopter rides, all kinds of good stuff. And so a Swiss Army knife is a very dependable tool, but this gives us, again, those three tools to actually craft a lot of the things that we need with our minimal kit to create tools for passive and active hunting, trapping, and fishing. Next, bait. We could actually get away with just shoving this in our pocket like I usually do. Knife, way to start fire, snack in your pocket. But we can put it in our trapping kit as well to bait our traps and bring those animals in. Sometimes finding bait is not that easy. For fishing, it could be easy, but for trapping and snaring animals, it may not be that easy to find bait that they're going to be attracted to. So we can bring peanut butter like that. Next, just a Slingshot band. Now with this Slingshot band, we can recreate with some cordage inside this kit just a regular slingshot. In fact, I have this one right here made from a bungee cord with a Y stick. You can see we just lashed it together with paracord, and we have our bungee slingshot with 100-mile-an-hour tape forming the pocket and the attachments right here for the excess cordage or bungee. And so we've got a slingshot right there, straight out of the military survival manual. So if we carry just the minimal item necessary, because we're not going to be finding rubber bands or anything out there in the wilderness, we can recreate a projectile weapon like this slingshot very, very easy. Next, snare wire. This is just small gauge brass snare wire. And standalone snare wire like this is probably going to be okay for very small snares, small game, but there's a way to actually make this a little bit more flexible but stronger at the same time. And it's a very simple technique, again, straight out of the military survival manual, and that is to take a piece of wire, double it over, and then you twist it. And you can see I've twisted along this entire length of wire using a stick right here with the lock, and then took the stick out, formed a self-lock, and now we have this snare, but it's very flexible. It'll bounce back and forth. It'll stay in position like this, but it'll double up and it'll actually be strong enough to catch an animal and hold it in place. And we have the self-lock double loop right there. This is a very, very easy technique. It's going to take double the wire, obviously, but it's going to be good for snares. We can then descent these things around the campfire, take them out, and prep them at camp, and then set them where we see animal going down runs or trails. So very easy technique. Snare wire is going to be great for long-term passive traps. And then we just have a small spool of number 6, I believe, bank line, that tarred mariner's line. We can fit a lot of cordage on this spool. We need this for making different things. And whether that's from lashing and binding or creating gill nets or different traps, we can use this also for spring pull snares, for other snares and traps, as well as deadfall triggers. But a lot of good cordage right here. Plus, it's water resistant and it's going to last a long time if we put it underneath the water. And so we want bank line to go after the fish for longer term traps like gill nets or underwater traps for fish. So we have a spool for that. And then speaking of fish, we have line right here. I believe this is 10-pound tensile strength fishing line, monofilament, subdued color, so it's easily concealed in the water, harder for the fish to see. But we have a lot of it, a lot right here. In fact, I think this is almost 200 yards of fishing line. So with that fishing line, combined with that knife, we can actually craft something like this, where we have gill net needles and gauges to create just a basic gill net. Something that we could get commercially, just a ready-made survival gill net that we can throw in the pack. All we have to do now is just basically carry the fish line, craft the gill net needle and gauge, understand the knots in the process and the weaving techniques, and we're good to go, and we can create our own gill net. You can do the same thing with paracord. Here's just the paracord gill net. You can see the mesh, very easy. However, it takes a long time. It is very tedious to try to put something like this together. And I've got it wrapped around this stick. We call this a mandrel. We use this for tying different knots. And this is a great way to keep it out in the wild, especially. We can wrap this up and shove it in the backpack, and it's not tangled up. Notice we have 550 cord for the top and the bottom lines to suspend this in the water, both down at the bottom of the water and then along the top with bobbers or attached to a log. So we've got a gill net right there, about 50 cord. Then even to go along with that fishing line, probably the most important item in this kit is going to be that terminal tackle. We have hooks, we have bobbers, sinkers, we have some safety pins, we have ready-made lures that already have the jig heads in them or hooks in them. These are going to be very important. And I'm not going to dump all these out, but you guys get the idea. Then we have plenty of terminal tackle right there. This is going to be the most important stuff because obviously we're not recreating this out in the wild. So bringing fish hooks, at least the fish hooks, with us in a very, very minimal kit is going to be important. I always keep a fish hook behind the patch in the hat, right up here, or in a small survival tent. But this is probably going to be the most important item out of this kit besides that cutting tool. We can use cordage from our bootlaces, the inner strands of paracord on the bootlaces for fishing line. We can even make natural cordage and then use the fish hook, but it's really hard to recreate that fish hook out in the wild. Or it's at least hard enough to create a sustainable fish hook that's actually going to work successfully given limited skills and resources in the area. And then next, we have that frog gig spearhead. This goes to the methodology of carrying the very minimal stuff with us. Just like that slingshot band, if we already have a ready-made spearhead with us, we can just carry that. And it's lightweight. We can fashion the actual shaft of the spear out there by cutting down resources. And we would cut down resources maybe again with something like this, a commando saw or a pocket chainsaw. Again, that's why having a saw on a multi-tool is so important because it's very efficient, easy to craft or take down material, and then all we have to do is shave down the end, fit the shaft into the spearhead, and we have our frog gig spear right here. This thing has stabbed many, many a frog. Seen one that stabbed a human and had to cut off the tine and pull it out because that guy got it caught through his thumb. Not good. Rule number one of spears is never stab yourself with your own spear. But we can carry the metal implement with us, very easy. And of course, it's super easy to craft a frog gig spear out there, which is why, again, I say cordage and then a knife, and you can do a lot. This is a basic frog gig spear head. Cut it off here and actually put a notch, L7 notch right here, so we can go harvest the spear shaft, carve the same notch on that end, fit it together, lash it right here, and all we have to do is carry a very short spearhead in our pack or on our pack frame, carry this around with us, and then harvest that spear shaft wherever we go. Ditch it when we're done and just carry this, and we save the cordage as well. And this is a very handy spear shaft. Notice that we have L7 notches actually in the tines themselves, so when we stick that frog or that fish, those notches actually grab onto the fish or the frog and hold it in place while we reach down, secure it with our hand, and then pull the entire spear with the frog or the fish up, and we have our catch. All we have to do now is put it out of its misery and then process it and cook it over a fire, and we have food. But we can recreate that frog gig spearhead fairly easy as well, but it makes sense to craft this. Less time, we have it right here, as opposed to crafting something like that. And then the last thing in that item, obviously cordage is going to be incredibly important. I would argue 550 cord is going to be one of the number one, if not the number one survival cordages for us because of the inner strands and the fact that it is 550-pound tensile strength. So we can use this. We have 25 feet here plus 7 inner strands, gives us a lot of cordage right there to use. We can use that cordage for things like hobo reels. Here we have a can hobo reel with the terminal tackle attached, ready to go, and go fishing right there. Or we can use that cordage as a lanyard for a hobo reel like this, where we have the fishing line. Notice the ear plug fishing bobber, and then the weight and the hook ready to go. All we have to do is attach the actual bait to the hook. And we even have a compartment down here that we've drilled out to put the rest of our terminal tackle and keep it safe with a cork stop. But that 550 cord acts as a lanyard, plus it's extra cordage on a fishing tool already. So if we need this, we can take it off and use it for trapping. We can use it for other bindings and lashings or other fishing devices like a trot line. But this thing is very small, fits in our pocket, and we can recreate a lot of things off the field with just basic cordage, line, and terminal tackle. And then going back to this cordage, one thing I forgot to mention is we can actually use this with different traps and snares. And one of my favorite traps and snares is going to be just a little bamboo mouse trap. All we have is a section of bamboo that we actually cut out, something about like that. And so we leave this thing whole, and then we just simply shave down the material. We'll saw in almost all the way through, and then carve this down into a very thin arm. And it's very springy, and it's very strong. And I've had this trap probably for a year or two now, so it's still good. And we have our trigger stick attached to our line. We're just going to place that inside the trap. It's going to bite onto the crossbar in there. And then all we have to do now is set the noose inside the hole. We have bait on the bait stick, that pointy stick there. The animal comes in, hits the trigger, the arm activates, and now the animal stuck in there is either trapped, kept in place, or is strangled. And then we have food ready to go. And mouse tastes just like it sounds, disgusting. So one more time. Launches, lapses the noose, holds the animal in place or strangles it, and then we come back, check our trap, and we have a very small meal. All right. All right, guys, so a very down and dirty discussion today on a minimalist trapping, hunting, fishing kit. Again, my argument is, if we have just a survival knife in cordage, we can recreate a lot of this stuff, sources off the landscape. But with a basic kit carrying just the basic items with us, that terminal tackle, maybe a spearhead, a lot of cordage, line, wire, and then having some sort of survival tool with us, even just a small knife multi-tool with a blade, a saw, and a reamer or that awl, we can recreate a lot of this stuff and fashion very successful and time-honored, tested fishing, hunting, and then trapping implements that are really going to give us food off the landscape as long as we in place a lot of traps and we know the area we're working in and we're going after the correct game with the items that we create. Anyway, very down and dirty video today. I really hope you liked this video. If you did like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leave me a comment down in the bottom. I really appreciate your feedback. I want to thank you guys for everything you do for me, for this channel, for your likes, your views, your subscriptions, your comments, your feedback, and your shares. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.